The valley of the Jordan was still and bright that morning, fertile ground stretching between hills, dotted with towns that glittered in the sun. To the traveler's eye, it looked like paradise. But the book of Genesis says heaven had already heard a different sound, the outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah. Their cruelty, arrogance, and violence had reached the Lord. Before judgment came, mercy knocked. The Lord appeared to Abraham beneath the oaks of Mamre and told him that the city's sin was great. Abraham pleaded for them, "Will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked?" From 50 to 45 to 10, he bargained down, and still the Lord promised, "For the sake of 10, I will not destroy it." But when 2 angels entered Sodom that evening, there were not 10. They found Lot, Abraham's nephew, seated at the gate, a position of civic influence in ancient towns. Once he had traveled with Abraham, sharing his faith in his tents. But years earlier, he chose the valley because it was well-watered, like the garden of the Lord. Now he sat amid a city whose wealth had corroded into corruption. Seeing the strangers, Lot rose quickly and bowed low, urging them to spend the night in his house. He knew the danger of the streets. Hospitality was sacred in the ancient Near East, a moral boundary Sodom had long abandoned. By nightfall, that corruption revealed itself. Genesis says, "The men of the city, both young and old, surrounded the house. They demanded the visitors be brought out for abuse," a chilling image of collective depravity. Lot stepped outside and pleaded with them not to act wickedly. His desperation shows a man torn between righteousness and compromise. He calls their act evil, yet speaks with the reasoning of one who has lived among them too long. The angels intervened. They pulled Lot back inside, shut the door, and struck the mob with blindness so that they groped at the entrance in confusion. Then they gave their warning, "We are about to destroy this place. The outcry before the Lord is so great that he has sent us to destroy it." Lot went to speak to his sons-in-law. Men pledged to marry his daughters, but they laughed, thinking he was joking. It is one of the Bible's starkest scenes, a man delivering truth to those he loves, and they mock him because sin has made the idea of judgment seem absurd. As dawn approached, the angels urged, "Up! Take your wife and your 2 daughters, lest you be swept away." But the scripture says, he lingered. The Hebrew word carries weight, to hesitate, to delay, to pause even when danger is visible. Lot's feet stood on the threshold of mercy, yet his heart still belonged to the life he was leaving. So the angels acted. The men seized him and his wife and his 2 daughters by the hand, the Lord being merciful to him, and they brought him out and set him outside the city. Divine compassion did what human resolve could not. Mercy sometimes pulls us when we refuse to move. They were told, "Escape for your life. Do not look back or stop anywhere in the plain." And as they fled toward Zoar, fire fell. The Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah sulfur and fire from the Lord out of heaven. The fertile valley turned to smoke. The cities that once gleamed like jewels became ash. Archaeological layers around the southern Dead Sea, Ebabedra and Numira, reveal evidence of sudden fire and destruction by intense heat. Scholars stop short of calling them Sodom and Gomorrah, but the earth in that region still bears the marks of catastrophe. And then, the moment every generation remembers. Lot's wife looked back. We are not told why. Perhaps longing for what she lost. Perhaps disbelief that God would truly destroy it. Genesis says only this: she became a pillar of salt. In the geography of that region, cliffs of salt line the Dead Sea, natural monuments to a story that warns against divided hearts. Lot reached Zoar alive, but the narrative closes in silence. His wealth, his home, his community, all gone. The man who chose Sodom for its comfort escaped with only his life and his faith barely intact. The story of Sodom is often remembered for judgment, but at its heart lies mercy, a mercy that acts even when we hesitate. Abraham's prayer was not wasted. Because of it, Lot was spared. Because of covenant faithfulness, God rescued even the reluctant. And so the smoke rising from the valley speaks not only of wrath, but of grace. Grace that reaches into hesitation, grace that drags the unwilling into safety. Lot lingered, and still, God took him by the hand. The question that remains is timeless. When divine mercy comes for you, When it takes your hand and calls you out of what will not last, will you move forward or will you look back?